stop what you are doing right now, because what Zayne is about to tell you in the next few minutes could permanently change the amount of money landing in your bank account every single month. We are talking about a massive new Social Security payment structure rolling out for 2026. And this is not a what if. This is not some political proposal floating around in Washington. This has been approved. The wheels are already in motion. And it is already changing the numbers showing up in bank accounts across the country right now. The problem is there is a massive gap between what the Social Security Administration has put into motion and what most people actually understand about it. And that confusion is not just frustrating, it is costly. For some people, it is literally costing them money they are 100% entitled to receive. So the real question today is not whether this affects you. It does. The question is how. And Zayne is going to walk you through every piece of it so you leave this video knowing exactly where you stand and exactly what to do about it. You are not imagining it. Have you looked at your bank statement lately, seen that Social Security deposit and just scratched your head? Maybe it is a little more than you expected. Maybe it is less and you are trying to figure out why. Or maybe the number looks about right, but you have that nagging feeling in the back of your mind that something is off, that you might be missing a piece of the puzzle. Here at Senior Security Update, Zayne hears this all the time, and the answer is always the same. You are not going crazy. You are not alone. This is happening to millions of people right now across the country. And the reason it is so confusing is because this is not just one single change. It is not the usual yearly adjustment you have seen before. What is happening in 2026 is more like a perfect storm. Several different overlapping changes all hitting at exactly the same time. And without a clear map to guide you through it, it is very easy to get lost. So today, Zayne is going to be that map. By the time this video is over, you are going to move from feeling confused to feeling completely clear about your money. And that clarity could be worth a great deal of money to you. Why 2026 is different from every other year. Here is the key to understanding the entire 2026 situation. It is the complexity. There are multiple adjustments all landing at once and they are working in different directions at the same time. Some of these changes are affecting the fundamental calculation of your benefits, the base amount you are supposed to receive every month. Others are affecting the timing of when you get paid. And then there is a third category of changes that affects the net amount, the actual dollars that land in your bank account after all the deductions have been taken out. What you get is a situation where some people are receiving more money and have no idea why. Others are getting less and are just as confused. And this is the group that Zayne wants to focus on most, some people are missing out on money they are owed because a recalculation that should have already happened for them simply has not been processed yet. All three of these scenarios demand your attention, so let us go through them one by one. Section 1. The Big Recalculation. Are you owed more money? This is probably the single change with the biggest potential financial impact for millions of Americans. And most people have never even heard of the two provisions that caused the problem in the first place. For decades, there have been two deeply controversial provisions buried inside Social Security law that have been quietly reducing the benefits of a large group of public sector retirees. For years, these provisions chipped away at checks month after month, without most people fully understanding why their benefits were lower than they should have been. But that is over. Congress finally repealed both of them, and that repeal is now active. This is triggering a massive nationwide effort to recalculate benefits. For you personally, this could mean a permanent increase in your monthly check, and potentially a substantial retroactive lump sum payment for the money you missed out on while those provisions were still in effect. So the critical question is, are you one of the people who was affected? What WEP and GPO actually did to your check? Let Zayne break these down in plain language because the government terminology can make your eyes glaze over fast. The first provision was called WEP, the Windfall Elimination Provision. This rule reduced your Social Security benefits if you also had a pension from a job where you did not pay Social Security taxes. In plain terms, you were being penalized for having a pension that you earned fair and square through years of hard work. The second provision was called GPO, the Government Pension Offset. This one was even more damaging for certain families. It slashed and in some cases completely eliminated the spousal or survivor benefits someone was supposed to receive, simply because they had their own government pension. Together, these two provisions affected approximately 3 million Americans, often cutting their monthly checks by hundreds of dollars every single month for years. Well, the headline news is that they are gone, repealed, and the Social Security Administration is now legally required to make it right for every single person who was affected. Is this you? Listen closely. If you have ever worn any of these hats during your working years, this section is for you. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, state employees, city and town government workers, school district employees, anyone who at any point in their career worked a job that had its own pension system and did not pay Social Security taxes from that job. If you have always felt like your Social Security check was unfairly low compared to what you expected, there is a very strong chance you were hit by either WEP or GPO. And this repeal means you are almost certainly owed a recalculation. That means more money every month going forward and potentially a very significant retroactive payment for what you were shortchanged in the past. How to find out for certain? Do not wait. Here is the most important thing Zayne can tell you about this. You cannot sit back and wait for a letter that may get lost in the mail or may never arrive at all. You have to be your own advocate. The only way to know for certain whether you were affected is to take action yourself. And it is a simple two-step process. First, pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administration directly. Second, and this is absolutely critical, you must ask a very specific question. Do not simply ask whether your benefit amount is correct. You need to use the exact words that will trigger the right answer. Ask them this: was my benefit previously reduced under the windfall elimination provision or the government pension offset? Use those exact terms. That is what opens the door to the right conversation. Get a pen right now or open the Notes app on your phone. The number you need is 1-800-772-1213. Before you call, make sure you have your Social Security number ready. It will make the process go much smoother. Zayne is going to repeat that number one more time because it is that important. 1-800-772-1213. Taking 5 to 10 minutes out of your day to make this call could permanently change your financial picture for the rest of your life. Do not put it off. Section 2. The COLA and Medicare puzzle. That is confusing everyone. Now let us move into the second major piece of this 2026 situation. This one affects virtually every single person who receives a Social Security check, not just public employees. And it is the reason so many people looked at their deposit and thought something was wrong even when technically nothing was. Think of it like your old paycheck from when you were working. You had your gross pay, the big number at the top of the pay stub. But that was never what you actually took home. What you received was your net pay after taxes, insurance, and all the other deductions came out. The same principle applies to your Social Security benefit, and understanding the difference between gross and net is the key to understanding why your deposit may look different than you expected. On one side of the ledger, you have what you are owed, your gross benefit. For 2026, that includes a 2.5% COLA increase for an average retiree that works out to roughly $50 more per month, which is genuinely welcome news. But on the other side of the ledger, you have what you actually receive, your net benefit. And the biggest deduction working against you is your Medicare Part B premium, because those premiums also increased in 2026. So the COLA gives and Medicare takes away. The result is that your net increase ends up smaller than what you calculated when you first heard the COLA announcement. This is not a mistake. This is not an error on the SSA's part. This is simply how the two systems interact. But understanding it clearly means you can budget accurately every single month instead of being caught off guard when that deposit lands. Section 3. The new rules for working retirees. This next piece is specifically for the go-getters out there. The people who are receiving Social Security benefits but have not yet reached full retirement age and are still working. If that is you, then the updated earnings rules for 2026 deserve your full attention because they could directly increase your total monthly income. Here is the good news. The annual earnings limit for people who are under full retirement age has been increased in 2026 to $23,450. That means you now have more room to earn from your job before the Social Security Administration begins to temporarily withhold a portion of your benefits. Zayne wants to be very clear about that word withhold because it understandably worries people. The money that gets withheld is not gone forever. It is not a penalty or a punishment. Think of it more like a temporary holding account. The SSA adds it back into your future benefits once you reach full retirement age. But in the short term, it obviously affects your monthly cash flow, which is why knowing the exact limit matters so much. Knowing that the new number is $23,450 gives you the power to make smart decisions about your hours and your income, without accidentally triggering a reduction you were not expecting. Your personal action plan. 4 steps this week. Zayne has covered a tremendous amount of ground today. The WEP and GPO repeal and what it means for public sector retirees, the COLA and Medicare interaction, and why your net deposit may look different than your gross increase, and the new earnings rules for working retirees. That is a lot of critical information all at once. So now let us bring it all home with a simple and powerful action plan. Think of this as a 30-minute financial health checkup, something you can do this week, not someday, not eventually, this week, to make sure you are getting every single dollar you are entitled to. This is where you stop being a passenger and get in the driver's seat of your own financial life. Step 1. Confirm your information. This sounds almost too basic to mention, but it is genuinely critical right now. The Social Security Administration is mailing out adjustment notices and processing payments. If your mailing address or your direct deposit information is outdated or incorrect, that communication and that money could end up somewhere it should not be. Log into sssa.gov and take 2 minutes to verify that everything is current and accurate. Step 2. Check for WEP and GPO. If there is even a 1% chance that you worked a public sector job with its own pension at any point in your career, make that call. The number again is 1-800-772-1213. Ask specifically whether your benefit was ever reduced under the windfall elimination provision or the government pension offset. Those exact words. That one phone call could result in more money every month for the rest of your life. Step 3. Review your benefit statement carefully. Pull up your statement at ssa.gov and look at it like a detective looking at evidence. Find the gross number, what you are owed. Find the net number, what you actually receive, and understand every single deduction in between. When you can see the full picture clearly, you can plan your budget with real confidence instead of guessing every month. Step 4. Know the earnings limit if you are still working. If you are receiving Social Security and working before your full retirement age, the number you need to have memorized is $23,450. Know it. Use it. Let it guide how you plan your work schedule and your monthly income so you never get caught by a surprise withholding. The most important takeaway. This new Social Security landscape in 2026 is genuinely more complex than it has been in a very long time, and that complexity creates gaps. And in those gaps, 2 kinds of people emerge every single time a change like this happens. There are people who will receive everything they are owed without lifting a finger, because their situation happens to process automatically and correctly. And then there are people who will miss out on money that is rightfully theirs, because a recalculation never got triggered, because an address was wrong, because nobody told them to make one specific phone call. Here at Seniors Security Update, Zayne wants to be absolutely direct with you about something. Which category you fall into is not determined by luck. It is not determined by how complicated your situation is. It is determined by one thing and one thing only: whether you take 30 minutes this week to log in, make a call, and truly understand your own numbers. The money is there. The protections are real. The changes are already in motion. All that stands between you and every dollar you are owed is the decision to act. Final word from Seniors Security Update. Thank you for spending this time with Zayne and the entire team here at Senior Security Update. This channel exists for one reason: to make sure you always have the clear, honest, and actionable information you need to protect your benefits and your financial security. If this video helped you understand something that was confusing before, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. A family member, a neighbor, a friend who is retired or approaching retirement. Because the people who never find out about these changes are the ones most at risk of missing out. Now go take those 30 minutes. Zayne promises you. It is the most valuable half hour you will spend this week. Stay informed, stay protected, and we will see you in the next video.